right now on 5 on your side at 10.
We started off this morning so cold, temps in the single digits in some cases, and they continue to fall even right now as we look at some of these numbers throughout the entire region. When that even colder air arrives and how long we can expect this frigid air to stick around.
The Arctic blast causing freeze fears.
This is the kind of frigid cold that scares us.
The emergency shelter setting up to help people warm up.
No one should be outside in that kind of temperature.
Our top story, a police chase ending in the suspect being shot by officers.
We looked outside and we saw probably 8 or 9 police officers.
The new video showing the aftermath as neighbors react. Right now, that suspect is still in critical condition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Bush. This all happened Saturday morning in Maryland Heights after police chased the driver of a stolen car who struck an officer. That officer has since been released from the hospital. Our Annie Krall was in the neighborhood talking to residents to learn more.
This is our street right now, full of police cars and such.
This was the chaotic scene in the 11800 block of Jonesdale Court on Saturday.
So Saturday morning around 3:30, we were woken up by about 10 gunshots. At first I thought it might have been fireworks because it's really unusual, so it was a little confusing initially. But we looked outside and we saw probably 8 or 9 police officers.
Maryland Heights police saying a juvenile was shot by police after a stolen car chase ended in this quiet residential neighborhood. The woman who took this video has lived here for 30 years. Wanting to stay anonymous on camera for safety reasons, she explained what she saw out her window.
Then the black car came to like a rolling stop at the back of a police car. And at that point, I did not know that it was 2 cars involved.
Neighbors tell me that once the sun rose and they could see better through the darkness, there was another car in this cul-de-sac, but it was in someone's front yard.
I realized that there was a second person involved because I saw them coming up the street. There was about 4 police officers that were escorting somebody with their hands cuffed behind their back. And that's whenever I realized, okay, it was at least 2 people.
Another young man was taken in an ambulance on a stretcher, she says, to a nearby hospital after being shot multiple times, police saying he was in critical condition. Former SLMPD Sergeant Ann Dorn is the widow of retired St. Louis Police Captain David Dorn, who was shot and killed protecting a pawn shop in 2020. Recognizing the risk taken by the officer hit Saturday.
That's still very devastating for the officer, their families, and the officers that work with them. It can be a catastrophic event getting hit by a car. It doesn't matter if it's a bullet.
In Maryland Heights, Annie Krall, 5 on your side.
And Chief Bill Carson with Maryland Heights Police is holding a news conference tomorrow at 1:30 in the afternoon to share more about the shooting and the 2 stolen cars. Now to a live look over downtown St. Louis, where frigid temperatures have us getting prepared for a weather impact alert. Meteorologist Gary Frank is here with that frigid weather impact forecast.
Yeah, like I said, you don't need me to tell you it's cold outside. It's a matter of what levels of cold that we reach. And that's what we're going to look at over the next couple of days. And we're sort of in the second level here before we really get to the bitter cold. Right now, I show you Edwardsville simply because it gives us an idea with the flags there and the trees. We normally can see the wind. It has settled considerably, and our current temperatures are still very cold. They're in the single digits. There's no doubt about that. It feels very cold outside. But look at our wind chills. Yes, they are cold and they are below 0 in some cases, but not all of them are actually below 0. The wind is going to continue to settle down, and I'll show you something here in a few minutes that tells you a little bit about what the correlation between just a light wind speed will do for us here. But into the rest of the next several hours, we're not going to change all that much. I think we'll fall to about 5. It's clear. Our wind settles down. But watch this and what it feels like. That 4, 5, 6 degrees with a light breeze, it's like 3. So it's not going to take much. But tomorrow into Tuesday, all day Tuesday, that's our weather impact alert. I think our wind chills are going to be between 5 and 15 below 0, and that's where it's really dangerous. The next level cold that we'll talk about with our next weather impact alert and how long this frigid air sticks around.
The danger of hypothermia and frostbite during these extremely cold conditions makes warming centers and shelters even more important, especially for the homeless community. 5 on your side's Laura Barcheski takes us to 2 temporary shelters getting people out of the cold.
Bitter cold is settling in across the St. Louis area. Temperatures dropping to dangerous lows allows for emergency shelters to open.
This is the kind of frigid cold that scares us. It'll probably get down to like maybe -10 wind chill tonight, and that is, no one should be outside in that kind of temperature.
Peter and Paul Community Services opened this one on Sydney Street in Soulard and can take in roughly 80 people, providing warm beds and food to anyone who needs it.
We have plenty of resources, from donations, from in-kind, all kinds of supporters helping us out. So we should be good tonight, but we're hoping to be able to stay open as long as this cold stretch lasts, and hoping it doesn't last very long.
Churches and community agencies that are part of the Emergency Weather Response Program are opening up in St. Charles, Lincoln, and Warren counties.
So volunteers open up places like this, warming centers, anytime the weather's forecasted to be 20 degrees or below, between the hours of 9 p.m. and 7 a.m.
The shelters that are part of EWR invite both people and pets inside.
So we have some food for our pets. So they come in, they can get some food, they make themselves comfortable, and then we go around to like their bedding areas. We don't have assigned beds or anything like that. They can sleep wherever they want. So this is our standard cot. These cots were donated to us. They have the sheet and then the blanket. They can get themselves set up and use the tote to put any of their stuff in.
I'm Laura Barcheski, 5 on your side.
In St. Charles, Lincoln, and Warren counties who need overnight shelter, you can call the EWR hotline at 636-344-0177. In St. Louis City, you can call 211 or get help in person at the 112 Sydney Street Shelter. For a map of warming shelters in St. Louis City or county and resources to help to keep you warm, just text the word warming to 314-425-5355 and we'll send you a link. Just hours ago, St. Louis City officials told us they're bringing in more help to clear the remaining snow. Director of Communications, Connor Kerrigan, says they've hired a new company that will supply 8 additional trucks. 6 of those trucks will come with plows and salt, while the remaining trucks will just be used for salting. Kerrigan says the city's top priority is to clear alleys so trash pickup can resume at, quote, full force. Developing tonight, a 7-year-old girl was found unresponsive in a hotel pool. Police arrived at the Element Hotel in Midtown last night around 8:30. The young girl was rushed to the hospital and was last listed in critical condition. We're working to get an update for you. We've also reached out to the hotel's parent company for comment, but we have not heard back. Right now, the Missouri State Highway Patrol is searching for a car involved in a deadly hit and run. This happened yesterday around 6 p.m. in Franklin County along Route 100. Police say a white SUV hit a man on a dirt bike while trying to make a left turn. The man was thrown from his bike and later died. The SUV fled the scene. Anyone with information on this car is asked to call Troop C. That number, 636-300-2800. Now to a live look at the U.S. Capitol building, where in just about 12 hours, President-elect Donald Trump will take the oath of office. However, his ceremony will look a little different the second time around. NBC's Susan McGinnis shows us the final touches being put on for tomorrow's inauguration.
A victory rally for President-elect Trump today at Washington's Capital One Arena, less than 24 hours before his return to power.
For the next 4 years, I will fight for you every single day.
About 20,000 supporters will also gather here Monday to watch the swearing in on jumbotrons after frigid temperatures forced inaugural ceremonies indoors at the Capitol Rotunda. Hundreds of thousands of others learning their tickets are now just souvenirs.
It's true. We're a little bummed about that, but you know what? We're just glad that we're going to have a good 4 years under a president that truly cares about not only Missouri, but all of America.
The president-elect visiting Arlington National Cemetery, while thousands of law enforcement officers mobilized to protect the city and its visitors. The outgoing president in South Carolina on his last full day in office, thanking Americans.
I love you all. I mean it from the bottom of my heart.
President-elect Trump ready to move back into the White House with big plans and ready to sign dozens of executive orders.
We're going to stop the invasion of our borders. We're going to reclaim our wealth. we're going to unlock the liquid gold that's right under our feet.
The 45th president, soon to be the 47th, emboldened by re-election, ready to fulfill campaign promises with or without Congress's okay. Susan McGinnis, NBC News, Washington.
And you can watch full coverage of President-elect Trump's inauguration on the 5+ streaming app. That starts at 9 a.m. You can also download the app on your Roku, Fire TV, or Apple TV. Just search KSDK in the App Store. His voice reaches thousands on the radio, but his most important audience is just one person at a time.
And in an effort to honor her memory, I became a volunteer.
How he's bringing comfort to those in life's final chapter.
When you wake up tomorrow morning, it is going to be downright frigid. And I know that it's a holiday, but temperatures in the single digits will feel like they're single digits below zero. Believe it or not, it's going to get even colder. Our next weather impact alert day has already been issued. When that is and how cold we can expect the wind to make it feel.
Making a Difference is sponsored by Midwest Bank Center.
They say the most powerful stories are the ones that change lives. Tonight in our Making a Difference report, the St. Louis radio host who turned his own story into a mission of comfort for those in their final hours.
Welcome back, guys. DGS on KMOX. Happy Wednesday to you.
For a quarter century, Dave Glover of KMOX has been one of the most powerful voices on St. Louis radio.
This was so important to my mom and dad. They're from that generation.
But it was in one of his darkest moments where he discovered what truly needed to be heard.
She was 95 pounds of pure fury.
Dave's mom was his biggest fan. But this summer at 96, she fell. And everything changed.
She immediately kind of went into a state of dementia, which she hadn't had before the fall. So that was tough because it was like losing her a couple of times.
She came here to the skilled nursing community, Bethesda Dilworth, where Dave and his family spent every moment they could with her. But then, one night, exhausted, they were sent home.
They said, you need to go home. And we have this organization of volunteers called NODA, No One Dies Alone.
Ready to go.
NODA is a group of angels in human form.
Not bad for an 87-year-old.
Volunteers who ensure that in life's final moments, no one takes that journey alone.
Our entire purpose is just to be a peaceful presence. So we'll observe for any pain or discomfort that a person might be having and report that to the nurses. But most of what we do is just to provide support.
Night after night, these volunteers take 2-hour shifts, becoming family to those who need it most.
It didn't make sense. Like, who are these people that are going to sit with my mother?
For families, including sisters Cynthia Spiegel and Pam Donnelly,
you want to start with an edge, or
NODA offers something precious, peace of mind.
You don't realize how exhausted you are. You know, it was just, I was so grateful that I could leave and know that she wouldn't be alone.
The night Dave's mom passed, she was holding the hand of a NODA volunteer.
There's this organization called NODA.
He shared the emotional story on his show.
And the gentleman who was with her when she passed at 3:50 in the morning has been doing it for 9 years. So a couple times a week, makes himself a thermos of coffee, goes and sits with someone who's dying and holds their hand. Isn't that amazing?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Is it just incredible that there are people like that?
There you go.
Then something remarkable happened. About a dozen of his listeners who heard him that day,
try this one maybe,
became NODA volunteers.
He was so passionate about it, I thought, I think I should look into this. This seems like something maybe I could get involved in.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was so cool.
And the most extraordinary change happened to Dave himself.
Melissa's taking me by the hand, and she was like, how you feel about it? I'm like, I'm nervous.
And within 2 weeks, I had decided that I was so moved by what they did, and and in an effort to honor her memory, I became a volunteer.
You have to have patience for puzzles.
In a world where we're all so busy, the volunteers with NODA ensure that every story has a witness and every hand finds another to hold.
There's my mom's room.
There's your mom's room.
Yeah, 305.
And in these same halls where he said goodbye to his mom, Dave Glover discovered that sometimes the greatest gift we can give another person
All right, I'll see you Thursday.
Take care.
All right, baby.
Bye-bye.
is simply being there.
And it's just the most meaningful thing anyone can do.
For more information on how to become a volunteer, you can go to the story on our website. And a reminder, if you know an inspiring person or someone making a difference for others, let me know by email at mbush@ksdk.com. All right, time now for more on this dangerous cold. Meteorologist Gary Frank rejoins us with the weather impact forecast and the deep freeze.
Yeah, very cold outside right now, of course. We've talked about this. You're going to hear about it the next 48 hours. It's levels of cold. We understand that it's winter and it's supposed to be cold, but obviously single digits, that's another level of cold. You add wind and then we go into other things, and that's what we'll talk about. The good news is the wind has settled down a little bit as we actually got to 24, but that was after midnight. This is our lowest temperature so far today, despite what the climate report tells you. We're down to 9. It's probably going to drop another degree or two, and you can see where that Arctic air is coming from. It's already a 0 in Des Moines, so we're going to continue to see most of this Arctic air settle in over the next couple of days. The good news, like I said, the wind has settled down. It's in the single digits, but I'll show you in a second. It doesn't take much for this wind to make something feel a lot colder. I do think it is going to settle down below 5 miles an hour tonight, so it's not going to be as significant, but we're still going to drop between 0 and 5. It's frigid. There's no doubt about it. It's just going to be very, very cold. For tomorrow, I do think that we're going to see our winds switch out of the west briefly. That's at least a little warmer direction, and I think it sneaks us in the upper teens and low 20s tomorrow. And with sunshine, like I said, it's just going to be a deceptive cold. It's just one of those things. But I'm talking about feels like readings that are going to go below 0. You'll see that they're not there on Monday afternoon. But look when we go into the overnight hours, another surge of Arctic air, a little second blast, and that's where the wind picks up by Tuesday morning. Look at as I pause this, 10, 15, maybe close to 20 below. And you'll watch our temperature here for Tuesday morning. 3 with a west-northwest breeze at 10 miles an hour will feel like 13 below. And look, even into the afternoon, it doesn't change all that much. So significant cold air. And I want to show you that just, you know, it doesn't take much. And we talk about frostbite times. And I know this is going to go on the wayside just a little bit because this is more for an online graphic. But I want to point out a couple of things here. With our temperature around 0 or 5 degrees, when you get into maybe even a 10-mile-an-hour wind in some of those cases, you got frostbite times in 30 minutes or less in some cases. So very significant cold. So that's why we're under a weather impact alert as we have that wind chill between 5 and 15 below with temperatures in the single digits here. And I think that we're going to see that frostbite potential in less than 30 minutes. Think about the pipes, of course, dripping the faucets. Pets inside, we can't talk about that enough. And of course, dressing in layers if you have to be outside for Tuesday because a lot of people are back to work and school. Slow improvement in the afternoon, but a cold bus stop in the morning and even in the afternoon. And for the next 7 days, as we focus on tomorrow, it's 21, but not as much wind for your holiday. But as you're back to work and school, it's colder, it's a little windier, and that's our weather impact alert day. I am optimistic for a brief rebound, and that's going to settle with us so we don't have to deal with significant Arctic air once we get past Tuesday.
Hey, it's time to go on the move. I'm Paul Cook, your traffic guy from Today in St. Louis. Well, road work continues on both sides of the river along I-270 near the Chain of Rocks Bridge in North County. MoDOT started their new pavement construction last week on I-270 westbound, those ramps to and from Riverview in Spanish Lake. I've been seeing delays right here during the morning drive, and we did have an accident just west of this 270 Riverview work at Lilac last week. So I asked MoDOT for an update and if that accident was related in any way to confusion about the Riverview ramp closure. Charlene Gostin tells me it's early on, but they are on schedule at Riverview, and they don't think that Lilac accident was related. As far as an alternate route goes, if you've been using Riverview on westbound 270, you need to now use Dunn to Lilac and then to 270. If you exit 270 at Riverview normally, Lilac or Bell Fountain are options. MoDOT says they'll need to keep that Riverview ramp closed 24/7 until June for that repaving. So let's just hope for great weather so we can get this project in your rear view mirror on schedule. Good luck and stay safe out there. Paul Cook, 5 on your side.
Coming up, a homecoming more than a year in the making. See the family reunion signaling the first steps toward a temporary peace in Gaza. Tonight, families are being reunited following the long-awaited ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Hamas released the first 3 hostages in phase 1 of this fragile deal. Israel released 90 Palestinian prisoners in exchange. Phase 1 also includes allowing hundreds of trucks carrying humanitarian aid to enter Gaza. President Joe Biden says it's all hopefully building toward a permanent end to this war.
And after so much pain, destruction, loss of life, today the guns in Gaza have gone silent. So as we reflect on the news from Gaza today, we also remember all the victims of this war. We're mindful. We're mindful that the pursuit of a lasting peace, while never easy or quick, must always be our calling.
4 more hostages will be released next week, followed by the release of 3 more every week after that. Today's hostage release is also bringing relief to many here in St. Louis. Rabbi Jeffrey Abraham told us his brother-in-law will now finally be able to come home after serving in the Israeli military. His own brother also served and returned home after several missions. Local Palestinian American educator Leila Goushi also shared her joy over the end to the fighting. However, both say it will be a long road to peace.
I do have a sense of caution. Although we haven't been in this situation before, have definitely been a lot of twists and turns.
And it's a relief to know that my family is God willing, going to be safe in Israel now, and hopefully we can have some calm and peace.
There are still more than 90 hostages being held. Right now, Los Angeles firefighters are turning their focus to recovery. Crews are now searching the destruction left behind by the wildfires for anyone trapped in the rubble. There are more than a dozen people still missing. Search and rescue teams are using dogs to help track them, as well as find remains from the at least 27 people who died in the Eaton and Palisades fires. Right now, firefighters have the Eaton fire close to 90% contained, the Palisades fire over 50% contained. However, officials say it could still be months before anyone can return home. We'll be right back. And before we go, Gary has a final check of the cold weather.
Very cold air that's settling in for us here, and I want to talk about what it's going to be dealing with overnight. The wind is much lighter. Look as I scan this throughout the day. Tomorrow we will improve, but it's the big story is by Tuesday. That's our weather impact alert day. Wind picks up, temps go down. It feels like it's 15 below in some cases. Significant cold air when you're back to work and school on Tuesday. Our next weather impact alert day. Anthony has the latest in the morning.
And there you have it, 5 on your side at 10. We're always streaming on 5+. Sports Plus with Frank Cusimano is next. And don't forget to start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m.